before Kit Bridges sat next to venture capitalist Lucio Lanza in a restaurant in Mountain View on a September night in 2011. She knew Lanza only as an influential board member helping to guide the burgeoning tech firm where she worked. But Bridges said she soon found herself swatting Lanza's hand away under the tablecloth, as he repeatedly touched her legs and groin. "It was like having a mosquito who I couldn't get rid of," said Bridges. Bridges never confronted Lanza or made an official complaint. But 7 years later, in an era of intense focus on sexual misconduct in the technology industry and other fields, Lanza was sued by startup founder Rachel Dana Vachita, 29, who alleges a drunken Lanza groped and sexually harassed her in the summer of 2017 after sitting next to her on a red-eye commercial flight. Now Bridges is one of 3 additional women who have told this news organization they were sexually harassed by Lanza, 73, who runs a venture capital firm in Palo Alto. The women described strikingly similar incidents, in which Lanza groped them suddenly and without permission in public settings, after he appeared to have been drinking alcohol. The 3 women all worked in a relatively small tech sector known as electronic design automation, in which Lanza is among the most important funders. The women said they are speaking out now to take a stand against sexual harassment in the tech industry. "I just feel like facts are facts," said another of the women, Catherine Cranon, the former CEO of the firm where Bridges also worked. Cranon stressed she is making no financial claim against Lanza. "I feel it's the right thing to do to bring the facts up. I have a daughter and the world is changing. This is what I have to do now." Asked to respond to the allegations, Lanza's attorney, K.C. Maxwell, offered a written statement. Lucio Lanza is shocked and devastated that a 50-year career spent helping and mentoring people, including many women, is being destroyed by anonymously sourced, false allegations from 6 and 7 years ago. The first time he ever heard any complaints about this kind of alleged behavior was when he was recently contacted by the media. This news organization supplied Cranon's name to Lanza's representatives, with her consent, and Cranon reached out to Maxwell to discuss her allegations directly. Bridges asked not to be identified to Lanza prior to publication of this article. The third woman requested anonymity. Lanza denies any inappropriate behavior with Cranon, Maxwell said, and after this article was published online, he denied such behavior with Bridges as well. In the past year, similar allegations have rocked Silicon Valley, emerging as the Last February, Uber engineer Susan Fowler made public her experiences with sexual harassment at the ride-hailing company. The resulting focus on Uber's boys' club culture helped lead to the ouster of founder Travis Kalanick, though he was not personally accused of misconduct. Soon after, allegations of sexual harassment from other women in tech forced prominent founders and venture capitalists to step down from their positions. Vachita, who founded 2 companies, Malium and Dynamic Surgical, filed her lawsuit in February. In the wake of the publicity surrounding the lawsuit, several women reached out to Vachita to say they had similar experiences, according to her attorney David Lowe. The lawsuit has since been amended to accuse Lanza of engaging in a pattern of sexually assaulting women going back more than a decade. The 3 women who spoke to this news organization about their accounts of alleged harassment by Lanza are among those who have come forward, and 2 are being considered as witnesses in Vachita's case, Lowe said. Bridges and Cranon separately told this news organization that they have been subpoenaed by Lanza's attorney for depositions on their relationship and previous communications with Lanza. Lanza vehemently denies Vachita's allegations, said Maxwell. He met her on a flight to Minnesota and spoke with her over the course of that trip, said Maxwell. Numerous people on that flight witnessed their interactions, and their recollections contradict Ms. Vachita's claims. We very much look forward to continuing our questioning of Ms. Vachita under oath and fully expect to prevail in the underlying litigation. Vachita doesn't work in the electronic design automation, or EDA, industry, but she says that while harassing her, Lanza said he had the power to make or break her career. The three alleged victims who did work in Ida said Lanza made no overt threats, but each was well aware of his strong influence in the small, male-dominated Ida space. Ida creates software tools to help design new integrated circuits, the backbone for virtually all devices and computers in the world. Since his days of working for Intel in the late 1970s, Lanza has built one of the most extensive contact lists in the industry, Cranon said. Cranon served as CEO of Jasper Design Automation in Mountain View from 2003 to 2014, when Jasper was acquired and absorbed by its competitor, Cadence Design Systems. For years, any Ida entrepreneurs who hoped to make progress in gaining funding and industry approval needed the endorsement of Lanza or Gary Smith, an industry analyst who died in 2015, Cranon said. Lanza received the Phil Kaufman Award for Distinguished Contributions to Ida in 2014, an award named after an early Silicon Valley pioneer in chipmaking. Lanza now runs Lanza Tech Ventures in Palo Alto, one of the few early-stage venture capital firms in Ida. Of the three women alleging sexual harassment, Cranon knew Lanza best. Cranon worked with Lanza since 2005 to help stabilize her company, which then was in dire straits, she said. Lanza worked with Cranon intermittently until October 2010, when she asked Lanza to join the company's board. Lucio was a big asset to the company, and I highly respected him, Cranon said. With the exception of a few isolated events, all in social settings, he was professional and valuable. One of those events happened during a February 2012 Valentine's Day party at Cranon's house in Menlo Park, she said. Cranon alleged that during a group photo shoot, which included Cranon, Lanza and both of their partners, among others, in the photo, Lanza reached his hand around and gave Cranon a long, lingering pinch in her buttocks. Cranon said she did not react but told her husband after the incident and told a coworker the next week what had happened. Her husband and the coworker confirmed that Cranon had told them. Cranon said she did not feel threatened or pressured by Lanza, and never personally had another harassing experience with him. After Vachita filed her lawsuit against Lanza in February of this year, Cranon said she recounted the incident to Lanza in a phone conversation. She said Lanza was apologetic but said he did not remember the event. Responded Maxwell, Ms. Cranon told me just a few days ago that during the 15 years she worked with Mr. Lanza she never felt pressured, harmed, threatened or harassed by Mr. Lanza at any time. She said, he never did anything to harm me or my career, Mr. Lanza denies ever acting inappropriately with Ms. Cranon. Maxwell also shared with this news organization a 15-minute video from 2014 of Cranon speaking positively of Lanza for Lanza's acceptance of the Kaufman Award. Cranon said she believed Lanza was intoxicated from alcohol at her Valentine's Day party, a common theme in descriptions of his behavior. In her lawsuit, Vachita claimed Lanza was slurring words, repeating half-sentences, and propping himself up on the seats. On September 22, 2011, Bridges, who served as Jasper's senior account manager, and Lanza both attended an open house party, where alcohol was served, according to Cranon, who hosted the party, and Bridges. The party was for Jasper's new office in downtown Mountain View. After the open house, Bridges, Lanza and 4 others walked a block to an American restaurant called Scratch, according to Bridges. Bridges said Lanza sat to her left at a table for 6 and began to grope her underneath the tablecloth. She said she swatted Lanza's hand at least a dozen times, maybe 20. I looked at him as a pest, said Bridges, who is no longer in the Ida industry. Bridges, like Cranon, stressed she is making no financial claims against Lanza. It really demeaned my opinion of Lucio when he did this. While she didn't say anything to Lanza, Bridges said she told Cranon privately days after the incident, which Cranon confirmed. The company did not have a human resources officer due to the small headcount. Cranon said she took no action, because Bridges said she was not worried about it, as such incidents were commonplace in male-dominated industries. It never occurred for me to do something, said Cranon. Now I look back thinking, my God, I'm a woman CEO of a company, and a woman employee has told her that her board member grabbed her under the table. As a woman in this industry, I've had many men in positions of power do grabby things. I rolled my eyes and tried to be classy about it. The third woman who spoke to this news organization, who still works in the eat industry, requested anonymity, fearing Lanza might use his industry influence to affect her employment. In spring 2011, a few months before Bridges' alleged incident, the woman said she went to a party at Cranon's house, which Lanza also attended. After a party that went late into the night, the woman and Lanza were saying goodbye on the curb in the front yard when Lanza allegedly grabbed her right breast. She said her back was turned toward her husband, who did not see the event, but she alerted him after they got in the car. The woman said she told a coworker a short time later about her incident with Lanza. The coworker confirmed being told. Despite invitations to visit Lanza in his office for coffee, the woman said she kept her distance from Lanza after the incident. But she said it was awkward to do so. Our company's success had a lot to do with Lucio being in the company, said the woman. It's sort of like Harvey Weinstein in the movie industry. Maxwell said Lanza could not respond to the claim from the third woman because he does not know the woman's identity. It is impossible for Mr. Lanza to respond to anonymous allegations, and it is unfair to ask him to do so, said Maxwell. I am surprised that the Mercury News is publishing 7-year-old allegations from anonymous sources. All three women said My daughter is 15, said Bridges. I want to show an example for standing up for something that's right. My mistake is not officially reporting this incident. Start your day with the news you need from the Bay Area and beyond. Sign up for our morning report weekday newsletter. Cranon added that This happened today with I hope I would have been direct and called out Lucio for his bad behavior immediately.